My name is Jonathan Goforth. Thanks for watching today's video. Today we're going to talk about how you can prevent yourself from getting scammed in some real estate things that are going on. Whether you are renting a house or buying a house or looking to be an investor as a buyer, there are some really bad things that have been going on over the last few years. I was asked to do this video to help explain what's going on, to help you protect yourself from these scams. Please subscribe to my videos. Please give this video a like. You're going to want to turn your notifications bell on, by the way, right down here by the word subscribe. Click subscribe. Next to that is a little bell icon. You're going to want to turn that on so you get notified of future videos about real estate topics. And let's jump right in. So I've been selling homes for 25 years, and I sell a lot of property, and so I tend to bump into this more than a lot of other realtors just because of the volume of homes that I sell. For example, in the last 2 years, my team and I, we sold over 250 homes in just the last 2 years, and I've been at this for 25 years. The last 3 years, I got to be listed in Forbes magazine as one of the top market leaders in the country. And so that's why I was asked to do this kind of video, because if you are a renter and you're out there trying to find a rental house, even an apartment, but it falls under more rental houses, you're probably going to bump into this, depending on the sites that you're trying to find your rental property. A lot of investors, landlords who own these houses are advertising them on, say, Craigslist or on Zillow, and that's where you're on there searching. But there are other people posting fraudulent listings of rental houses. And so what they're after, what these scammers are after, is your first month rent and your security deposit. It's what your landlord wants. The scammers are going to take it, and you're not going to know what's going on unless you see some red flags and you do some things to prevent this from happening to you. So let's say what happens. There is a listing on, say, Craigslist, and you are a renter. You're a wannabe renter. You want to find a rental house, and so you see this post. And so they have a story, and the story kind of makes sense. Maybe the house is currently for sale, and they are about to buy it. They're about to close on it. They cannot let you in yet. That's the first red flag. You don't get to see the house, but they've got so much activity on it. Whoever's going to send them the first month rent and that security deposit, they're going to get the keys to rent the house. And that's how these posts kind of go. But a lot of people are desperate, and sometimes these houses are in great locations, and so they can take that money and scam multiple people on the same rental house. Is the house even for rent? No. These houses aren't for rent. The house is probably for sale. And so the scammer will find vacant houses on MLS, and then they will create their own listing. Many times they will copy and paste those pictures the real estate agent used, and they will create a listing that's very believable, and they'll put it where they know you as a renter are looking. And some renters will fall for that. I'll tell you, if there's no way possible they will let you see the house you're about to rent, that is a red flag. If you have to wire the money in order to get the keys, that's a red flag. Don't do that. That's a situation of huge red flags. If they're going to do it to you, they're probably doing it to other people. If they can get 10 people to send them first month rent and a rental deposit, for that security deposit that you're going to give to the real landlord, it makes sense that you would send it. But if you can't see the property first, there's reasons for that. Sometimes you'll go drive by that house, you'll see a for sale sign. There should be either a for rent sign or a for sale sign in that yard. If it's a for sale sign, call the listing agent. Call the agent on the sign and explain you've been contacted to rent that house. Is it really for rent? A lot of times in this situation, They're going to say, no, the house isn't for rent, it's for sale. It is under contract. If they say, is the new owner such and such real estate company or the name that you're talking with, have them look. And they don't have to give you the name, that's going to be confidential. But they can tell you yes or no, the person you're talking to is the same person. Then that sounds legitimate. If they say, I've never heard of the person you're talking with, then you're being scammed. You are talking to possibly somebody in another state, outside the country. They want you to wire your money into their account. After they get a whole bunch really fast, they're going to shut down that account. They're going to move on. They're going to open up another account. The police simply can't go after those people. The account's gone. Your money's gone. There's no way to track them down. It's too big on a scale. The police don't have time to deal with this. But I have had my listings in the past placed on Craigslist, and I get a call from somebody driving by. They've seen it on Craigslist. It's for rent. And I explain it is not for rent. The new owners haven't closed yet. It is not going to be a rental house. And I explain to them that they are being scammed. Do not wire that company any money. So be on the lookout. Protect your money. Protect yourself from these scammers. Now let's talk about the next one. This is the reason I'm making this video. One of my good friends bumped into this a few days ago. Now, I don't know where this has ended yet because he's still trying to figure out if he's being scammed, if he's not being scammed. But this is a new situation that I've not bumped into yet, and so I want to talk about it because this could be the new thing. In this case, my friend saw a posting on Craigslist. Craigslist seems to be a place to attract scammers. They're after your money. And what happened? It sounded like a good story. And so they have not talked in person. It's only been on email. Here's how the emails have gone so far. There is a house in the suburb where I live, and it needs work. And it's the perfect fit for an investor to buy it and flip it or fix it up, keep it, and rent it out. And so he sees this post. And in the post, it explained, and then they emailed a little bit back and forth. The new owner is a daughter. Supposedly, this is the information that's been given out so far. This is supposedly he's talking with the daughter of the homeowners. The homeowners have passed away, and they've willed it to her, is how this is being explained so far. She lives out of state, so she's going to sell her home, her parents' home, for sale by owner. There is an address, and so my friend goes and drives by it. It's not for sale. There's no for sale sign. There is no for sale by owner sign either. That's a huge red flag. If you don't see either sign, the house is not for sale. But yet there's a post on Craigslist that the daughter is selling this house. And it's being sold below market value, which is also a red flag in this kind of seller's market. Why would anybody sell below market value when she could get multiple offers? How is she going to sell that home for sale by owner when she is out of state? She explained because she's out of state, she doesn't have the ability to show it. Nobody can see the house in advance. My friend cannot go in and see the condition of this house. But she is going to go in and do contracts, sight unseen, because some renters or investors will do that. That's how you buy a foreclosure. You don't get to see the home if you're going to buy one at the courthouse steps either. So some of this can sound legitimate even to an investor. Keep in mind, investors do this sometimes regularly. They know what they're doing. So my friend calls me and he said, I'm seeing some red flags with this. Now here's where the story gets even better. If we send this to a title company to see, is there a beneficiary deed? She, the daughter of the parents who have passed away, she has already given out a story that it's willed to her. So there is probably not a trust, not a beneficiary deed. So if I have a title company run it pretty quick to see what information they can find, I would like to see if there's a beneficiary deed with her name on it. Is she ready to take ownership? She's already explained we're probably not going to see that. That means, and I told my friend, she doesn't have clear title to it yet. She can't sell it anyway. It's got to go through probate. Now, she'll get to buy it out of probate. She'll have to pay probate tax. with that will, that'll set her up as the next owner. But it's got to go through probate. Well, that's going to take some time. She's going to have to get a probate attorney. She's got to get some kind of an attorney to help her through that process. But she wants him to go ahead and go under contract and wire the down payment or the earnest money. She wants him to wire the earnest money directly to her. Huge red flag. When you see that, alarms should go off everywhere. You should never wire a seller the earnest money. Now, the only time you do is when it's a new construction and the builder directly gets the earnest money. But in this situation, no. It would go to a title company and it's being held there in escrow. I told him he needs to get with her. They need to have a conversation that he would like to use a local title company, and that's where he'll be wiring or sending his earnest money. And I'm anxious to see what the response will be from her. I think it's going to shut it down, and that will probably end that conversation. She will realize he's caught on. She's scamming him. This could be a situation where she has found a vacant house and she has created a fraudulent post in Craigslist trying to scam people. She can write up contracts with these people. They're bogus. It's not her house. She has no ownership interest at all. Probably. Now, I don't know that yet, so I'm anxious to see what happens. This is another example. Anytime anybody wants you to wire the money directly to the seller instead of a title company, there's a good chance that is a scam. Now let's talk about the third one, because the third one is the biggest and most financially destructive to buyers. So before I talk about the biggest one on here, please subscribe to my real estate videos so you don't miss out on upcoming future videos. Let's talk about buyer scams. This is on such a huge scale, it's devastating, financially destructive to the buyer. The buyer's family many times will not recover from this. It's on a huge scale throughout the whole country. Almost every title company I have worked with in the last 3 or 4 years even have a statement at the bottom of their signature line: do not wire money unless you contact them first. I'm going to explain what this is. If you are buying a home, I want you to be sensitive to this. This is for the buyer. The buyer's under contract. The buyer's going to close in a few days. The title company, everything's about done. We're heading into closing. And a lot of these scammers are so good. They will hack into the real estate agent's email or the title company's email. And they're going to create an email that looks just like it. It's going to appear to come from the real estate agent or from the title company to the buyer. It's going to the buyer. It will look real. It's going to look legitimate. And in this email, it's going to say, here is your wiring instructions to wire your final amount due at closing into this account, getting ready for closing. And that's not the title company's account. This is probably an offshore account. It's going into a different country. If the buyer does this, the buyer's money is gone. They'll never get it back. Now, how much money are we talking? Well, let's say it's this buyer, let's just say they're buying a $200,000 home. And this buyer is doing 10% down. 10% down payments, which would be $20,000 right there. $20,000 plus their closing costs, which would be roughly, let's say $5,500. The buyer is going to be bringing to closing $25,500. That's how much they're going to bring to closing. The buyer already knows that. They've got an estimate. They're going into closing. The lender, everybody's involved. But this email comes through. It could also come from the lender. So they could get it from the lender, the title company, or their realtor, and it sounds legitimate because their email got hacked into. And so what does sometimes enough is happening that this is huge and it's become a very serious problem. So the buyer does it. It looks legitimate. So the buyer wires their $25,000 to the wiring instructions on that email. and their money's gone. Now it's time to close. The next day they hear from the title company, or they call the title company and they make sure the title company just got their money. We're all set for closing. And the title company is, we haven't sent you the email yet. They're still waiting for the loan documents to figure up the final settlement statement. So now how's that buyer going to close on that house? They can't. Their money is gone. It's been stolen. They got scammed. And so now the buyer can't close on their house. The buyer is not going to recover from that financially. Their money is gone. Let's say it's a $200,000 house. Buyer is putting down 20%. Now we have $40,000 plus their $5,500 in closing costs. $45,500 is what they would be scammed out of on that one. And this is why it's a huge problem. Here's what I want you to do. If you're a buyer and you get an email from anybody, any party, your real estate agent, your lender, your title company, and it says, here's the wiring instructions, it's not going to come through like that. Usually a title company will have an attachment with wiring instructions. They're not just going to put this in an open email. Call. Here's what I want you to do. If you're the buyer, I want you to call. Call whoever sent you that email. Get them on the phone. If it's your real estate agent, like me, call your real estate agent. Did you send me this email? I want to verify that it was you before I go spending all my money and wiring it into some other account. If it's the title company, whoever it is, make sure those wiring instructions are correct. This is a lot of money, and it's probably all the money you have. That scam on buyers going into closing is on a scale we've never seen before. COVID has made it worse because now you have so many older people who would always go get a cashier's check. Older people have not liked to wire money. They still struggle with that because they're afraid of being scammed. But everybody says, oh, it's safe. Online banking, it's all safe. There's no problem with it. And because of that, and when the bank shut down due to COVID, now you have a lot of other people who are now wiring their final closing cost amount to the title company, who normally would have gone to the bank to get a cashier's check. And the title companies have made it easy to do this. It's on their websites. Just click at the top right corner of their website, and there's their wiring instructions to wire this money. But when you get an email that sounds very convincing, people fall for it. A lot of people fall for it. On my team of realtors, one of the realtors, she had a client do this 3 years ago. She wired her entire amount, and we don't know where it went. It's gone. That stopped her closing. She couldn't buy it. She's out a lot of money. There's no way to get that money back. Call. Whenever you get an email, call and verify that was the right person who sent you that email. Sometimes they're going to say, no, I haven't sent you an email. And you're going to think, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I called to check. I was about to wire my money to that. That's how you prevent being scammed, and that's how you protect your finances on the houses you're going to buy and on the houses you're going to rent. Thanks for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed something. Please click subscribe. Please give my video a like.